Hiya. I want to talk today about an article that was in the Huffington Post on the 17th of September 2013. It was about Lynne Featherstone, the Liberal Democrat minister. Lynne Featherstone, Lib Dem minister, says FGM would not last if boys' willies were being cut off. Has Lynne Featherstone ever thought about Southern Africa, where lots of boys are circumcised, and that lots of boys there get all sorts of problems, including having lost penises? Has she thought of that, I wonder? A Liberal Democrat minister has said that ending the barbaric practice of female genital mutilation, FGM, must be a priority for the British government. I ask, what about male genital mutilation? After all, male genital mutilation is legal in the UK, isn't it? And FGM is not legal in the UK. So she's an international development minister, and she obviously wants to comment about the state of female genital mutilation worldwide as well as locally. International Development Minister Lynne Featherstone said FGM had come to symbolise the brutal oppression of women across the world, telling the Liberal Democrat conference in Glasgow it must be eliminated. Well, we know it is illegal in the UK, and to her it symbolises the brutal oppression of women across the world. The brutal oppression of women. Let's ask, the brutal oppression of women by whom? By whom? Who is oppressing women? Is it men? I get the general impression I get from Western feminists, at least, is that FGM is something that men do to women. It's part of their brutal oppression of women. By whom, I'm asking? Is it by men? Knowing full well that women do a lot of the cutting, if not all of the cutting, of females. And let's remind ourselves that my mother had me cut. My mother had me cut. FGM would not have lasted 4 minutes if boys' willies were being cut off, Ms. Featherstone argued. Ms, she's a feminist, yes. She said it would not have lasted 4 minutes if boys' willies were being cut off. But this is a lot of bullshit, actually, because, well, we've had eunuchs. There's been castration. Eunuchs have been around in, throughout history for thousands of years, in China, India, Europe, etc. Only about a century ago, with the Vatican, it's only a century ago that the Vatican outlawed male castration for castrati singers. So there's a whole history. History is replete with male genital mutilation and the severest forms of male genital mutilation. As I said, there's history of eunuchs and castration, and there are boys in Southern Africa today who are still losing their penises due to male genital mutilation. Yes, and I've made the comment here that, well, she's drawn an analogy here, hasn't she, to boys' willies being cut off, and females. Now, it must be known that not all of the clitoris is cut off, even in a so-called full clitoridectomy. It's only the external, this is to my understanding, only the external clitoris is cut off in a full clitoral, a so-called full clitoridectomy. So to be truly analogous to cutting off a willy, the entire clitoris would have to be cut out. And that isn't the case. There's an internal and external clitoris. Normally, in a so-called full clitoridectomy, as it's practiced in these cultures, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, only the external clitoris is cut out. But nevertheless, Liberal Democrat MP Lynne Featherstone has demanded more be done to eliminate FGM. And as International Development Minister, is she going to demand more to be done to eliminate male genital mutilation? FGM is already against the law, isn't it? And remember, boys aren't protected in the UK, but girls are. And get this, dogs and cats are. You can't mutilate. You can't cut off a dog's foreskin in the UK. You can't. You can't circumcise a dog or a horse or a cat. You can't. So, in point of fact, in the UK, little boys have less protection than a dog or a cat or a hamster. Read more here. The African women who are turning their backs on FGM. More than 2,000 victims of female genital mutilation have sought treatment at London hospitals in the past 3 years, the Evening Standard reported. More than 2,000 victims. So how many boys have been done in the UK and have died in that time? There have been some recent cases of baby boys dying in the UK. One boy was done on a kitchen table and died, bled to death or something. You know, so, and where are all these 2,000 victims? More than 2,000 victims of female genital mutilation. Where did they get their mutilation? Was it done abroad or was it done locally? It was most probably done abroad. Still, there may be cases of FGM being done in Britain. However, anyway, let's read on. Estimates, I say, or guesstimates. No one's ever been prosecuted, have they, in the UK? Whereas Scotland, yes, I'm asking, where is Scotland Yard and Sherlock Holmes? We've got a superpower here, we've got the UK, and they have never, ever prosecuted anyone for female genital mutilation. Estimates have suggested another 20,000 girls at risk of being mutilated in England and Wales. The ritual cutting of girls' genitals is practiced by mainly African and also some Middle Eastern and Asian communities who believe it protects the sexual purity of girls. In Somalia, 97% have had their clitorises removed. Well, we just said that the actual entire clitoris isn't usually removed, it's usually the external clitoris. So that isn't the equivalent to a whole willy, is it? It's only equivalent to, what, half a willy or something? Yes. Somalia is not in the UK, no, and she is the International Development Minister. She might at least speak up for boys' genital integrity, though, but I don't think she's going to, is she? Not someone who spoke about that so casually about boys' willies isn't going to defend boys. No one in the UK has ever been prosecuted under the law which bans FGM. So listen to this. No one's ever been prosecuted under the law which bans FGM. So not one person, no one person has a tongue in their feminist head. And there's not one brave woman in Britain, no mother, no sister, no daughter, no one who's been genitally mutilated or watched a genital mutilation. No one has ever come forward. No one has ever had an assertive tongue in their feminist head. No feminist has ever come forth and said, prosecute this has happened to me, or I have seen this happen to someone, defend them. Now, you've got Scotland Yard, haven't you? You've got Sherlock Holmes, haven't you? You've got everybody. You've got a superpower here, and Scotland Yard couldn't help. No, I don't suppose Scotland Yard could help. Not one brave woman has come forward. There's no one with not even a feminist with a tongue in her head has ever helped a prosecution. No one has ever been prosecuted under the law in Britain. Blogging for Huffington Post, Ms. Featherstone said the issue has been neglected by the international community and international development for too long. Well, I say male genital mutilation is even more neglected by the international community and international development. Indeed, the World Health Organization is actually pro-male genital mutilation. The World Health Organization is years behind on male genital mutilation. It will defend little girls' genital integrity, but it's dragging its feet on male genital integrity. She, of all people, should know that if she was educated in the subject, which she isn't. She's obviously ignorant, and, well, it's time she educated herself about male genital mutilation. Ms. Featherstone, yes, the World Health Organization, what a pathetic organization that is. Ms. Featherstone, who started to try to deal with the problem as a Home Office Minister before she was moved in last year's reshuffle, said there was now a real opportunity to make progress as a number of African countries were introducing new laws banning the practice. Well, we know it's banned in Britain, don't we? We know that. We know it's banned in Britain. She said, of all the terrible things that are done to women across the world, from the UK right across the world, female genital mutilation has to be a priority because, to me, that is to her, it is totemic. It symbolizes that brutal oppression of women. Again, I ask about this brutal oppression of women, which includes female genital mutilation. The brutal oppression of women by whom? Who is doing all this female genital mutilation? Is it men? Are men doing this to women? Be clear, love. Now, you're a Jewish mother. Well, you're of Jewish origin, apparently. You've got 2 children, according to Wiki. I don't know if you've got a male son. Did you have him genitally mutilated, as per your Jewish tradition? You seem to have a rather casual affair to male genital integrity, a casual attitude to male genital integrity. You come from a Jewish background where male genital integrity is well, you don't have male genital integrity usually in a Jewish community, do you? You don't. It's a here she is again. It's a practice that has been going 4,000 years, and without wishing to be crude about it, well, you are crude about it, love. Without wishing to be crude about this, quite frankly, if it was boys' willies that were being cut off without anaesthetic, it wouldn't have lasted 4 minutes, let alone 4,000 years. What a load of bullshit. And cut off without anaesthetic, it wouldn't have lasted 4 minutes, let alone 4,000 years. Well, for a start, anaesthetic doesn't make male genital mutilation right, or female genital mutilation right. Anaesthetic doesn't make it right. What has your Jewish community done to boys? They have genitally mutilated boys without anaesthetic. Some modern Jewish people might use a so-called topical cream, anaesthetic cream. That doesn't stop the pain. Some Jewish people I've read use an amount of give the baby some brandy, as if that stops the pain, and as if anaesthetic makes it right anyway. I had male genital mutilation done without any anaesthetic. And I ask further, was traditional male castration, was that done with anaesthetic? No, it wasn't done with anaesthetic, was it? Modern anaesthetics, general anaesthetics, these were all just developed early last century up to today. So, she was at this debate on a motion to set out the party's policy to deal with domestic and sexual violence. I call male genital mutilation sexual violence. Anyway, the motion was passed with an amendment calling for those who send girls abroad to have FGM to be prosecuted. Well, in Australia, if you go overseas for FGM, circumcision tourism, that's illegal in Australia, and you'll be prosecuted on your return. I would have thought Britain had similar laws. Yes. Dogs and cats are allowed to keep their foreskins in the UK. Boys have no such guarantee. The Home Office has agreed to fund a new study into the number of women living in the UK who have been cut, usually abroad, in order to identify girls vulnerable to MGM. They're going to identify girls vulnerable to MGM. Are they going to do anything to defend little boys' genital integrity in Britain? Whether it be done abroad or locally, and of course it's legal in Britain. It's legal to do it on a kitchen table. This woman, this Featherstone woman, isn't unlike the Australian Sex Discrimination Commissioner. She'll speak out against self-righteously. She'll speak out against the dreadful sin of female genital mutilation. But she won't utter a word in defence of boys' genital integrity. And that's the article there from the Huffington Post, 17th of the 9th, 2013. Interesting article. This woman has a double standard, doesn't she? She's completely, blissfully unaware, apparently, that boys do die from having. Boys do die, and they do lose their willies. There are a lot of willies lost in southern Africa. How concerned she is for males and male genital integrity. What a woman. What a Wonder Woman. See ya.